What is going on, guys? The Inside the Booth podcast, and today we're talking about the New York Yankees, and their season is over. The Blue Jays are heading to the ALCS, and the Yankees are heading to Cancun. Tough loss. I mean, when they won Game 3, you thought there was maybe a little bit of hope. Maybe they catch lightning in a bottle. They didn't do any of that. They lost, and overall, the entire series was embarrassing, honestly. Starting pitching outside of Cam Schlittler, they shit the bed. Rodon, dog poop. Fried, bad in Game 1. The hitting, did anybody else show up besides the captain, number 99, Aaron Judge? No. No. It was literally, Judge, take us to the World Series. We're going to take the ALDS off. Aaron Judge was phenomenal. Easily took all the postseason allegations. He doesn't show up. He threw those out the window. He forced a Game 3 for the Yanks. Needed some help from his team. Carlos Rodon was bad. And the Yankees didn't win, right? So, obviously a frustrating series as a fan. Frustrating to talk about it. But there are a lot of stuff that we do have to talk about. This will probably be somewhat of a lengthy video, if at least I want to, or just all my thoughts. Don't want to keep you guys hanging, but the starting rotation was something that the Yankees looked at, right? They had Fried for Game 1. They had, they had the starting rotation that, could potentially take you to the World Series, right? Because Rodon had a good regular season. Fried had a good first season as a Yankee. And then Cam Schlittler was your up-and-coming star, who showed very much promise in that Boston series, and then gave you a good outing in Game 4. But that's really where most of it comes down to. I mean, we'll get into the other side of it, but for the starting rotation, like I just mentioned, great seasons end in horrific matter. Carlos Rodon, man, we needed you tonight. Well, not tonight, but we needed you. And what did you give us? Nothing. You gave us absolutely nothing. Throw out everything you did in the regular season. When there is a matter, when there's a game on the line, Rodon's not the guy to give the ball to. I've learned that. And just frustrating from him. And then Max Fried, you want to start off on a good road, a good starting point in the ALDS. Splitting in Toronto was not the worst thing that could happen. But you get swept in Toronto. And embarrassed, might I add. Not only did the bullpen not have it, but your starting rotation, something that you've invested a ton of money, because that's where, honestly, besides Aaron Judge and Stanton's contract, that's kind of where all the money goes, no? Max Fried, big contract. Garrett Cole was sidelined with an injury. Rodon did not pitch well. I don't know. The big thing that I took away from this series was the Blue Jays were a better team than we thought of. I said in the preview that this was a high-powered offense. I don't think I have to sugarcoat that. They did what they had to do. Vladimir Guerrero Jr., I'm not sure why they kept pitching to him. I'm not sure why. I feel like that first 2 games told you a lot of what Vladimir Guerrero Jr. was going to do to you. And it wasn't like, oh, he's going to head to the Bronx and then he's going to cool down. No. Took Rodon deep on a pathetic changeup, and the Yankees continued to pitch to him. I don't understand really the thought process. And I'll tell you this, you want to be so analytical as a baseball team. If Vladimir Guerrero Jr. had insane numbers against Carlos Rodon and even Cam Schlittler, who they still pitch to, where's the lie? I mean, when a guy is doing that to you in a series, you have to try and have other guys beat you. And they did. Ernie Clement, freaking Varsho, everybody. And that's what makes them a good offense. It's not just their big guy that's making all the contact and all the noise. It's their number 7 hitter, 8 hitter, getting on base, making a good defensive play. That is what the playoffs are all about, man. It's some of those guys that you don't really hear of in the regular season come up big in the postseason. And the only person that showed up in the postseason, hitting wise, was Aaron Judge. You know, you look at all the OPSs. Judge had like 1,000, you know, something like that. I think the next guy was like 750, which was Paul Goldschmidt. The rest were like 500. Anthony Volpe was a 200. Lou Gehrig had ALS and posted a 400 OPS. That was higher than Trent Grisham and Anthony Volpe. What a freaking joke, man. That's your starting center fielder and your starting shortstop. Listen, man, I've said so many times, I've always loved Anthony Volpe, the story, grew up a Yankee fan, living his dream. But at some point, when is it time to pull the plug on the investment of Anthony Volpe? What was he, 1 for 15? Something like that in the ALDS? I don't know, man. If you're Brian Cashman, you know all the reporters are going to say, is Anthony Volpe still your guy at shortstop? Brian Cashman spoke very highly in the offseason leading up to this season. Anthony Volpe has a great bat, great defense. He had like a negative 13 defensive runs saved or outs above average. Something like that. It was bad. Yeah, you can make the excuse that he was dealing with a shoulder injury. Blah, 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 blah. You lost. You got outworked. Out-hustled. You know. But I think if there's another topic that we do have to talk about, it is Aaron Boone. And listen, I will say this, with what Alex Rodriguez said on the post-game show, and Derek Jeter said, I am in full agreement. The roster construction of this team made it very difficult to put that guy in the lineup and that guy, because you only could put 9 hitters. You had 3 lefty-hitting catchers. Austin Wells, J.C. Escarra, Ben Rice. No righties. So when they put a lefty in, we're screwed. That's already 1 out. You had multiple guys that just can't hit. Like, multiple. Trent Grisham, no-show. Volpe, no-show. Jazz Chisholm, no-show. Wells, Rice, no-show. Bellinger, too. No-show. Everybody in the lineup besides Aaron Judge did not show up. Judge was the only person to show up, and that was it. And usually, you know, it's where's Aaron Judge? Aaron Judge hasn't shown up yet. Is he ever going to show up? Aaron Judge in the postseason. Blank space, because nothing. This year, he showed that he can perform in the postseason. The Yankees are not doing what they're supposed to be doing. They're wasting Garrett Cole's prime, and they're wasting Aaron Judge. Aaron Judge is going to be 34. Garrett Cole is going to be 35. Boston's going to be better next year. Toronto should be equally as good, if not better, if they make decisions. You don't want to be in the dumpster of the Rays and the Orioles in third place. Roster construction, you have a lot of moves, a lot of players that are in need of a contract. Cody Bellinger is the main one. Trent Grisham is probably gone. Ahmed Rosario is a free agent. I wouldn't mind him back. Devin Williams, he might be back. You know, he showed promise towards the end of the season, but I know the regular season was not great for him. Just a lot of maneuvers. They had to move him out of the closer role. Then they had to try and fill a role for him. I don't know what Devin Williams' future. Tim Hill, I would like back. Very much so. He's been great. Luke Weaver, I don't think I want back. Just did not have his stuff. Not the usual Luke Weaver that we saw last season where we could rely on him in the 8th inning. Ever since he had that injury, he was just not the same. But the big question is, what do they do with Cody Bellinger? Did not show up in the postseason. Had a good regular season. Is it a fluke? Is it one of those years that he has a great year because he's in the contract year and then goes back to hitting 200? Trent Grisham is gone. I don't want to see Trent Grisham. He's replaceable. You need to play Jason Dominguez. That was one of the biggest things that I got so angry at, is when Jason Dominguez pinch hit for Anthony Volpe, had a great double. That was his only plate appearance. Trent Grisham was struggling the entire series. What was it? Oh, he was just going to show up? No, he wasn't doing anything. Why does this franchise get so afraid of change? So much numbers. So much analytical. Stay with your gut, dude. The gut feeling was like, maybe if we play the Martian, who could play both sides of the bat. He could play righty. He could play lefty. He can swing. He could play serviceable defense in center field. It's not great, but it's not something like, oh my gosh, he's going to blow the game because he dropped the fly ball. No, he has a good bat, and they just didn't utilize it. I think they played Ben Rice, honestly, too much. His swings were not good in Toronto. I honestly would have liked Paul Goldschmidt more. But they essentially did it like, if they're not playing a lefty, if a lefty is not on the mound, Paul Goldschmidt is not playing. You have to go with your gut, and your gut is replacing Paul Goldschmidt for Ben Rice. Ben Rice is out, and you put Paul Goldschmidt in and hope he can get a hit off a righty. But yeah, a lot to be upset about, a lot to be pissed off about, because the Yankees, man, I really think if they were able to defeat a high-powered offense in the Blue Jays, they could have potentially beat the Tigers or the Mariners. But your starting pitching did not show up. 2026, your starting rotation should be the best in the league. Cole, Fried, that alone is insane. Rodon, hopefully has another good year in the regular season. And then it translates to the damn postseason, man. Cam Schlittler, Luis Heel, Clark Schmidt, potentially, unless they move on from him. But I'm sick and tired of losing and not making to the World Series. I know they made it last year. I understand that. But you got to be a team that is consistently in the ALCS and knocking on the World Series door, man. You have too much resources, too much flexibility, way too much. That it should be no excuse to win, dominate your division, and go to the World Series and clash against the Dodgers every year. The Dodgers are doing what the Yankees did 20 years ago. Consistently good, buying players, not giving a flying fuck what anybody says. Luxury tax? Okay. We'll just spend more. But our guys say luxury tax. Oh, boo hoo. We got to be very careful because draft picks. Oh no, losing draft picks. You can be drafting anywhere from like the 27th pick to the last pick every single year, dude. I know you could find talent late. I get that, but like you have to understand that like you got to take a risk, man. Judge ain't getting younger. Cole ain't getting younger. You're failing those two, man. Brian Cashman, Hal Steinbrenner. Failing these guys. Aaron Boone is going to be back next year. I have no doubt in my mind. Is it the right move? I'm not sure, but, you know, you have to look at it from another perspective. This roster construction was not good enough, clearly, to win a World Series. And for the Yankees, back to the drawing board again. You know, it was a very sad season. Sad ending to a season. They blew the division lead to the Jays. Jays took that as motivation. And they won. You got embarrassed 2 years in a row now on your home turf. The World Series being lost and being eliminated by the Jays. I know many will say, when will it end? I don't think it'll end until Brian Cashman is out of a job and they get new front office, new scouts, new everything. Analytics can only take you so far. It is just a number. You got to start going with your gut. And the more that they keep relying on numbers, the more they're going to see other teams celebrate a World Series and not get number 28. Wow, man. I mean, it's just so frustrating because Judge and Cole are not getting younger. You can't just edit them and say, all right, Judge is back to being 21 years old, and we have another 10-year window. You have maybe a 3-year window at most. And that might be pushing it. Because I don't know what a 34-year-old, 35-year-old Cole can do. I know Judge can perform, but he needs other guys, man, and like superstars, right? And I don't know who that's going to be. I'm not sure, you know. Obviously, I'm going to say it. No, I'm not going to say it. I'm not going to mention him. But, you know, for the Yankees standpoint, they got to make a lot of moves. You cannot even come close to the same roster as you did. You need a first baseman. You need a shortstop. And I think you might have to move on from Austin Wells as well. No pun intended. Swinging at the first pitch. Bases loaded. Hoffman is struggling. He just got a sigh of relief when he saw a first pitch swing to the outfield. And the inning was over. That can't happen, man. There's so many, Little League BS that they do. Not coming up with a ground ball to force two. Get a double play. Not being able to hit in scoring position. That is the biggest thing, man. They had chances. And then when the Jays got out of it, they would respond. And that is what good baseball teams do. That is what good baseball teams do. They take advantage of their other team's mistakes and they punch them right in the throat. And that is what the Blue Jays did. I'm sad, upset. Ton of words, man. I mean, it took me a few days after to record a elimination game, But, it's obviously tough. Frustrating, obviously. And I think that's going to do it for this video. Leave a like. Leave a follow. Let me know your guys' thoughts on this team. Who they should target in the offseason. Is it a big name? Or is it just more minor moves and you think most people are going to be back and they're going to try and run this ship again? I don't think that's going to happen. But I'd love to see your comments on this. Like I said, subscribe. On the road to 400 subs. I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.